Hi Peter, it's Alex here. Just taking a look at your week 6 run, and yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's not bad at all. Now, just a few things we want to do. Let's just turn on the film gate there for your camera view. I think this is your camera view shot camera. You have not locked off your shot camera. Very bad. You must always lock off your shot camera. Um, it's a really bad habit not to, because otherwise you will lose it. Okay, I'm just going to go to saved layout, animation. Okay, shot camera there, show none, show polygons, show NURBS curves. Over on this side, perspective view, show none, show polygons, show NURBS curves. Okay, now let's go in. You have got the subway and on a geometry layer. That's good. But let's go to your camera there, and you always want to lock off the shot camera. Lock, right click, drag, select all of this, and then lock it off. If you don't lock it off, you will lose it, and it will all get screwed up, and it will be your fault, and you will live in pain and misery for the rest of your life. Window, outliner. Let's take a look here. You've got two lights here. You need to Control G, group those. Call that lighting group, and you also need to name your lights properly. There are not two fill lights. You should have key light, fill light, and rim light. Okay, that's the convention. You will be expected to follow that on a movie. Subway Geo, you've grouped all of this. That's great. Excellent, good work. And Monty, yeah, you've got that's the camera that comes with the Subway. I don't know why. Okay, excellent. So now we're up and running. We are in good shape. And your run looks pretty good, I would say. It's a nice job. I'm just going to turn off the subway geometry. And let me just, I think what I'll do is I'm going to take the translation off the world control so that I can just see him running on the spot. And I'm just going to take since it's a 19 frame cycle, I'm just going to turn off select surface objects to make sure that I don't select any of Monty's geometry by mistake. I'm going to take this up to frame 19 and then just look at 1 to 19. And then grab all that, turn on curves pre-infinity cycle, curves post-infinity cycle, view infinity. Now I can see my infinity curves. Okay, so now it should cycle on the spot. And that's really not bad. It's working pretty well. Just going to check it against the thumbnails. There's your contact and your squash, and then your up position. Now here it's getting a little bit iffy because I think according to this, the foot should be further back on the up position than you've got it. So, which is what is making it feel slightly floaty. And also this foot here should, yeah, it basically wants to be further back. So I'm going to push it something like there. And then here at 10, it's probably going to be even further back, but sort of up like that. And then here at 13, that foot should be kind of coming back this way. And then at 16, it could even be further up. And I think probably rotated up like that. And then you've got your contact. Okay, let's have a look at that. Yeah, okay, so that's feeling slightly better to me. You just got to stick pretty closely to the thumbnails with these things. Now here at 2, I would have that foot already flat on the ground. So I would take out the rotation because I think you want that, you know, in a rapid motion like a walk, you want that foot going clonk right down there on the ground. Here at 4, you've got too much ball roll too fast. Yeah, so we need to pull that down, and then here the ball roll increases, and it should still be increasing here, and then we dial it out. And you've got here, it should also be increasing, and you don't want to be, you've got too much translate, you've got too much rotate X going on there. I would keep that out of the equation until we take the foot off the ground. So I would keep that going down, but crank up the ball roll like that. You want to keep the ball roll control to control that foot when it's on the ground, and save the rotation for when it's in the air. Whoops. Now the foot comes up. Let's try that. Yeah, okay, so that's starting to feel better. And starting to give it more weight. Because you don't want that foot to ever be penetrating the ground, in fact, like it is there. And again, that's because you've got this rotate X cranked up. We do not want this. We want, again, the foot flat on the ground, and we want the ball roll. Okay, so it's not quite gonna work there. So we might have to cheat that a little bit like that. Oh. Have to keep some ball roll there. Okay, there we go. Something like that. But otherwise, but it's pretty good. You've done a nice job, and I would also have a bit of squash and stretch. So let's set 1, 10, and 19, and let's have a little bit of squash there, and a little bit of squash there, and then a little bit of stretch there, and a little bit of squash there. A little bit of squash maybe, and then back to normal. And let's turn on infinity curves, infinity cycle, and oh, nasty. That's a crap curve. What have I done? That's truly horrible. Okay, so what have I done? I've made this an absolutely nasty curve, which was completely unnecessary. So that should be same as that. So, okay, so squash there. Let's try stretching it there. Then it's back to normal. Then we squash it. Then we stretch it. Okay, now we've got something that looks decent. All right, so it's just me being useless. Okay, so now we've got a curve that looks like a kind of like a sine curve. Kind of. Yeah, okay, so that's starting to get somewhere. And we could even, if we wanted to, shift it over a couple of frames to see if we can get some offset. Yeah, makes it more interesting. Okay, great. So now you've got a bit of squash and stretch on Monty. You've got some nice side-to-side motion. You've got that right foot fixed. You're in good shape. Excellent. Really, really nice work. Good stuff. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the... what happened there? Is this your camera view? Shot camera. You have not locked it off. You shall be punished severely. Okay, so you've got your guy running. That's all good. Let me select the camera. Lock it off. Lock off the camera. You must always lock off the camera. I'm going to send you a tape recording. You can put it on your pillow. Lock off the camera. And you can play it while you're asleep. Okay. So now we've got to go to panels, save layouts, animation, get my 3-way split, go to the shot camera there. Now actually this is not a good shot camera because what's happening here? That would get you fired on set. Call yourself a cameraman. Imagine you're on a set and you just sort of forget about the fact that there's no set there. You would so be in trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the subway geometry. And I'm going to go to the outliner and I'm going to select it, subway, and I'm going to go to vertex mode. And I'm going to grab some of these guys and I'm going to move these over. Okay, now this is a very bad way of extending your set. And I do not recommend you ever do this on production, because they will fire you. However, we can do it here because well, just because. Okay, now we've got a set that works. Okay, do you see what I've done? I've extended your set. Now you've got more geometry, because you didn't have enough before. You can't put a camera where there's no set. Not in the real world. You can't. They will fire you. They will send you packing. Okay, good stuff. All right, so now we've got our camera. We've got it locked off. Happiness is ours. Now I'm going to go to the side view, or the graphic side view, and I'm going to turn, oops, what's happened to that? I'm going to turn off my subway geometry. I'm going to hit F. I'm just going to take a look at your run here. Okay, so we've got the same thing as before. Actually, I'm going to stay in the perspective view, which is that I'm going to turn off all of this junk as well. Polygons and nerves curves, that's all I need. So I'm going to take away your translation, and I'm going to turn off select surface objects because I don't want to accidentally select anything, and then I'm going to just concern myself with frames 1 to 19 because that's all I'm really interested in. And this actually looks pretty good. It's not bad. Now it looks like this rig is slightly heavy, and as a result it's not playing back in real time, which is slightly boring because that means that I'm going to have to make a play blast. I've actually never used this rig before, and I see it works, but maybe it's just a bit heavy. Now, one thing I think we can do is rotate this guy forward, because I think that you'll get more of a sense of him, of urgency if he's a bit more rotated. So let's pull that over a little bit, and I think we can do the same thing actually with his chest. Let's try rotating that a bit as well. And then having done that, let's grab the head and rotate that up a bit. Now we want to turn on the infinity curves there. We want to see if that's a nice cycle. Pre-infinity cycle, post-infinity cycle, view infinity. And it's okay, but we can definitely improve that by tweaking these curves here to make that more attractive. And I'm going to also tweak the whole thing so he's actually looking where he's going. There we go. Which he isn't anymore because I adjusted the chest. Okay, so that's giving me more of a sense of urgency on this character. I like that a little bit more. And I think we also want a little bit more overlapping action on the... oh, nasty. You at the very least need to flatten that off, that curve on the wrist. So now what I'm going to do is as he brings his arm forward, and we're on threes here, aren't we? Yeah, so I'm going to stick with the whole threes thing. That is to say, keyframes every 3 frames. And then, yeah, so now this is the crucial bit. Let's pull that over there. And then let's pull that over there. And let's pull that over as well. Do the same thing there. Is that the same, more or less? Okay, so now we're going to get more overlap on that arm. Do you see? Getting more flexibility. It's hard to see. Actually, maybe we can be in a lower resolution mode. Yes, get scale smooth off. There we go. Now we've got it. Scale smooth off. Can I keyframe that? Key selected. Smooth. Great. Okay, we're off throughout the shot. Okay, good stuff. All right. So now, yeah. So now we're seeing all the frames. Okay. So now we're getting more of a sense of overlapping action on that, and let's also do it on this hand as well. So as this hand comes forward, I want it the same at 1 and the same as 19. So at foot frame 4, I want that wrist breaking a bit. This is what Art Babbitt, great Disney animator, used to call the successive breaking of joints. So now we pull that up there, and we overlap that there. It's really another name for flexibility and overlapping action, and actually I'm going to make sure that that is like that. so that now we're getting more contrast there. Now let's see what that does. Yeah, okay. So now we're getting a lot more flexibility into that hand. It's feeling a lot less stiff. Okay, this is the crucial bit, because you want, and let's just check to make sure that that's a nice curve. Oh, we haven't got our infinity curves turned on, because annoyingly you have to turn them on curve by curve, but that's just how Maya is. So let's do that, and let's smooth it out to make it a nice sine curve, and oh, happiness is ours. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So yeah, so now we're getting more overlapping action on the hand, and you can, if you compare it with the hand on screen right, this hand over here, which feels much more stiff. The other thing is we should probably want to curl this hand a bit. I'm not sure exactly how this rig works again, but I would say that, let me double click on that and see if I can't set it to, do I want it to world space? Local space? Neither of those seem to be particularly helpful. Well, that's weird. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's what I want. So I would probably set that to, I would probably dial that in like that. So sort of make a fist. Hit S, close that out, and then I'm probably just going to, actually what I'll do is I'll middle mouse drag that to the end. Set. So, okay, so now we're getting, well, let's not look at that because that won't work anymore because of the change that we've made, but you know, you can have the hand open, but maybe it feels a little bit more realistic with the hand slightly closed. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before I stop is I'm going to just give you a bit of flexibility in the chest. And the way I'm going to do that is as he comes down, I'm going to have the chest slightly drift up a little bit. Ooh, that's going to animate everything. Well, let's try it. Or we could maybe try this. Except, damn it, we don't. Yeah, it's because we're in IK. All right, let's just try this, see if it works. So, chest comes down as he comes up. Chest comes up as he comes down. Chest comes up as he comes up. Chest comes down. Let's just see what that looks like. So that's the rotate Y. Okay, so there's our, again, we've got to turn on our infinity curves. So that doesn't, whoops, that doesn't look too bad as a curve. It looks all right. Let's just see if that's given us any more flexibility. Yeah, I think it has a little bit. Because you don't want to keep, you want the upper body to have a bit of flex in it. Otherwise, the character feels a bit stiff. Overall, I don't love your character, and the reason for that is simply that he hasn't got any eyeballs, and I don't like characters without eyes. Because I'm just going to reduce the amount of overlap on the head a little bit. Yeah, it's a little better. And I don't love characters without eyes because I feel like one of the things that makes characters fun and interesting is looking at their facial expressions. And as soon as you take the eyes away, it makes it too much like a student exercise. But that said, it's not a bad little rig. And it does work. So now another thing we want to do is just like we did on Monty, I want that foot flat on the ground at frame 2, so that, yeah, something like that, so you get more of a clunk as the foot hits the ground. Anyway, it's good stuff. It's way better than last week. You've come on a really long way, so nice work, Peter. You're definitely making progress. Good stuff.